Right, well, some quick thoughts I want to turn to on the Supreme Court race and how crucial you think ads are for the candidates running for the 2 full-term and 1 partial-term seat. Because for people who aren't really experienced with these judges, I mean, the ads are the only way that they can really get to know the candidates if they don't do, I think, a lot of research, Stephen.
Yeah, well, this is the big picture problem with the way we handle the Supreme Court here. This idea that these should be nonpartisan judges elected and nominated as part of a partisan process and then forced to run. It's confusing. It's confusing to voters, and I think the messaging you see from these judges is confusing. I think a lot of them would say, I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to be out there saying these things, but what choice do I have if I've got to get votes to keep my job or to get it? I think the advertising in that race has been bizarre at times and really inaccurate at other times.
We got a jingle now from Bernstein's camp.
Wait, there's a jingle?
Bernstein and Murphy. it's
I love hearing you sing, especially when you're singing political ads, you know.
But you know, we always, a lot of people criticize the process that elected judges and partisan ballots are the wrong way to go. And yet this is produced in Michigan, a very good Supreme Court, an excellent Supreme Court.
At times it's been good, at times it's been awful.
At the current Supreme Court is a very good
Supreme Court is better than we've had in a long time.
It's each election it has improved, and the Court of Appeals is not a bad court. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions about the process, but the results it's produced is not bad. It's not bad.
So the fact that you are singing a jingle, does that mean then the ads have been effective?
Absolutely not. I
mean, his ads are super effective. He's going to win. He's probably going to win.
Well, that was from 10 years of Call Sam ads before this, for goodness sakes.
So ads effective before we leave?
Well, I mean, I think some of them are, some of them are. I mean, I think you're going to see the 2 incumbents probably keep their seats, and then Bernstein, because he's so far ahead in every poll that we've seen, he probably is a shoo-in.
There you go, name recognition. All right, as we leave election talk, and I love having the 2 newspaper men here because I'm going to ask you to come up. What do you think the headlines are going to be next week after this election? And I'm going to ask you to look a little bit into your magic 8-ball or your crystal ball. On Wednesday morning.
I look at Steve's head.
Look, he's talking. I think we might be up Wednesday morning. I think we may not all have even gone to bed because if the governor's race is as tight as it looks, we may have to wait really long time.
So this is like kind of like a 1990 all over again?
I ran the election in 1990 for the news, and I was there in the morning with the last edition about the roll, and there still were just a few hundred votes, and we finally, the Associated Press called and said, "What are you guys going to call it?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. What votes aren't counted yet?" And he said, "Well, Livonia, Plymouth, Kent." And I said, "Well, those are Republican districts." I would say that Engler's won. I mean, it was far from calling it. It was just an observation.
Right.
They sent out a bulletin. Detroit News calls it.
Right.
And we said,
that
well,
was you? That was you, Nolan.
We may as well go with it. and we rolled the dice. But that was an election that this one could very much mimic. We might not know.
And we haven't had an election here that's been that close since '90.
Not in the state. I mean, of course, the 2000 presidential.
2000 presidential, sure.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Any other sub-headlinings like Democratic strategy is a game changer, or anything else that you think we might see?
I think if they pull this off, if Mark Schauer is able to win largely on the back of this absentee strategy, that becomes a national story.
Sure.
It changes strategy in almost every state with a Democratic advantage, but where Democrats don't show up in that midterm year, Lon Johnson, who's the new party chair, becomes a rock star, you could see him going all over the place trying to do that.
And if an incumbent governor loses in a state that is improving economically, where he has a fairly good job performance rating, and more than half the people think the state's headed in the right direction, that's a remarkable thing. I've never seen that before.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think this governor was weak from the beginning in terms of being an incumbent. The Democrats looked like they were going to blow that, and if this absentee strategy works, they didn't, and so that becomes a big story.
All right, and so we'll be watching. We'll be talking all about it. One thing I do want to mention that we didn't get a chance to talk about tonight, we are going to hear that ruling from Judge Rhodes in the bankruptcy next Friday. So that'll be another headline to keep you guys busy.
Are we doing an election show?
Well, you know, it's funny that you should mention that, Nolan. It's funny you should mention
We
that
wanna get out of
because
here.
we want to tell you, don't forget, join us Monday night at 7 o'clock for our live election special. It's all of the last-minute analysis that you need before you go to the polls on Tuesday. So, of course, join Nolan, Stephen, and myself Monday night. And it's going to be live, so get on social media, get Twitter. Should we trust you on live television?
You never know what you get.
You never know. You can always find us at MiWeek.org. I'm Christy McDonald. We will see you next week for My Week, and make sure you join us for Monday night. Take care.